Scott, we're here at Parkview Road after a fantastic comeback in the end from the Rebels. 2-0 down at half-time, 2-2 in the end. How did it happen?
I hate the word game plan, but the boys stuck to what we asked them to do. I think the first 20 minutes, even though we found ourselves a couple of goals behind, obviously it's one mistake from someone who's been extremely reliable. He's been up there with one of our better players this season, and you can't legislate for that. But there's no dramas. He's been brilliant for all season. Obviously Henry making a little mistake. Second goal was taking a deflection, looped over Charlie, and you just think it's not going to be your day. So I think we got the boys in at half time. We believed in what we were saying. We tried to simplify it and just say, listen, try and play in their half as much as you can. Be patient when you need to be. Can we find that moment of quality? When we're in sort of like the final third for us, and I thought a great ball from Johnny, great header from Josh, and then obviously the second goal, can't remember what it is now. The second goal was, remind me, Johnny Goddard. So Johnny Goddard as well. He's gone in obviously final third, great touch, great finish. So yeah, we've ended up getting a fully deserved point, I believe. I thought second half we limited them to very little. I thought the pitch played a massive part in both halves. It's really difficult to get out your own half when you're down that slope. And we knew that they liked going down the slope second half. So we tried to get in 0-0 at half time, didn't manage it. But I thought second half there were some really good individual performances. I thought the standout one for me was probably David Ogbonna. I thought he was absolutely superb. Last week he was extremely poor, and I've told him that, and we've had a bit of a laugh and a joke around it because something so small, but he had the wrong footwear on. So last week he was slipping over and sliding, couldn't stay on his feet, and then today I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and I thought he really drove us on. But I think the boys in the attacking third, I thought they had a right good battle up, and they allowed us to get into their half and sort of gain a bit of territory. Boys were winning second balls, putting balls back into areas. And then Charlie's made a great save at the end as well. So, a lot of positives to go away with, and it's ended up being a huge point.
Fighting towards the end, though, we saw quite a lot of the balls getting put into the box. But did you feel in your mind that maybe a point here is still a good result, and we should maybe just take the foot off the pedals, as you tend to say? Did it feel like just getting a point at least was enough for you today?
Yeah, I think our away form's been abysmal, and we set up to get a point today. You could probably see the team that we went with. We went with Jammers and Henry in there to give us a bit more solidity. We went with a back four, which we've probably not played in a while, and we would have been happy with the point. When your plans go out the window because you're 2-0 down, you have to change something. And I think going 2 up top in the second half down the hill, Slavy and Sam were 2 really good focal points. They had a really good battle up, and I thought they had excellent games. So overall, it's a very good point. I think it stops Welling obviously making ground on us. I think other results went for us. It's another game gone. But yeah, no, overall, I think from my point of view, being on the pitch, we get a little bit excited when we get back to 2-2. We probably could go gung-ho and try and win the game, but I wanted to get out of it with a point even when we got back to 2-2, because the worst thing you can do is get back to 2-2 and end up losing the game by being a little bit too aggressive in terms of being too attacking. So yeah, no, I'm really pleased with the point.
What also probably wasn't ideal was obviously we saw Dan Bayliss have to come off during the first half. Firstly, I'm sure he's okay. What's the sort of update on him? And then we also obviously saw, like I said, not an ideal substitution to have to see yourself come on during that first half. Yeah,
it's been a crazy 24 hours. Guy Hollis was meant to start, and he's had some sort of personal reasons as to why he couldn't play today. So he wasn't in the squad. He let me know at 5 o'clock this morning. Sam Evans was due to start and couldn't because of personal reasons. So we had to mix and match the team. We had to change it round. It's the first time actually in 2.5 years, or since I've been in charge, that I've not named the team before Saturday. I named it today at 1:30, as you know. I got here to have a look at the pitch to see what it was sort of giving us and see what it required. I usually do it on a Thursday night, but there was so much going on in the last 24, 48 hours that I just couldn't do that. So we had to try and put the best team out there as possible. And obviously Bayliss has taken a nasty knock to the head. He's got a bit of a dent on the side of his head, so I'm sure he'll go and get that assessed and see how it was. But listen, the boys are buzzing with the point. I'm really proud of their performance in the second half. I think everyone's played their part. I must say as well, at half time we debated about taking Johnny Goddard off, because is this really a Johnny Goddard pitch when it's second balls and ugly? And credit to Yeller, he said give him another 10 minutes. It ended up being another 45 minutes, but he found that moment of quality, and you can rely on Johnny in moments like that. It was a great touch and great finish, and ultimately he's got us out of trouble. So yeah, a lot of positives as well over the course of 90 minutes. A couple of really disappointing negatives in the first half. But like I said, we're really pleased to get out of here with a point.
Yeah, he seems to like this ground. I remember his free kick he scored here last year as well. Just a little bit more on Johnny Goddard. Whereabouts do you feel he is at the minute? Of course, we saw him have that sort of delayed start to the season. Wasn't playing a lot of games with Boreham Wood. Whereabouts do you see? Where do you feel he is now at this point in the season?
Yeah, listen, I think Johnny's up and running. Are we playing to his strengths as much as maybe what we need to? That's a question I'll probably ask myself, and a question we have in amongst the management team. He's a big part of us in terms of the playing side and the coaching side. So we actually spoke about it the other day, like how did Johnny get 19 goals last year? Was it we got the ball to his feet? It wasn't that. He picked up second balls, or someone else picked up a second ball, they got it to him and he went and created his little bit of magic. So he scored a really important goal today. And Johnny's obviously someone that we believe in massively. Great person, great lad, so much talent, it's scary. So I'm sure between now and the end of the season he'll go on and score even more goals. So no, huge goal today, and one that at half time many people probably didn't expect for us to get back in the game, but in the manner in which we did, being 2-0 down away from home, is really pleasing. I think we had the disappointment the other night of being 1-0 up at half time and losing the game, but this feels like a massive point in the grand scheme of things, and I think our supporters appreciated that as well. They know our away form hasn't been great, but our away following today was superb, and it's nice to give them something to go home with. I know we've not won the game, but I think they appreciate a team that doesn't give up, and we've certainly got that. We know that results of late haven't been brilliant, but the team will never give up, not on my watch anyway. So I think you can see that again today, that it's that never say die attitude that gets you something from the game, and we've managed to do it.
And just before we speak about a little bit next week's game against Farnborough, we've done a little bit of data crunching, and it's something you mentioned a few weeks back about the first goal being scored in games that Slough are in. From what I've been told, when Slough scored first, it's been 12 wins from 18. However, when they haven't scored first, I think it would now be 2 wins from 25. Is that something that does, well, I'm sure it does concern you? Yeah,
100%. I think teams in this league, including ourselves, I don't think we're great at it. When teams go ahead, they play the game and they manage the game really well. The Truro game last week, the ball's in play for 35 minutes out of a possible, was it 98 minutes? I think there was 4 added on in each half. So that just shows you can manage the game, and I think we're okay at it, but I don't talk to the lads about game management and slowing it down and getting people onto the pitch, physios and whatnot, or taking forever to go and get the ball. Maybe it's something we need to be better at and be a bit more cute. But other teams do it, and it's really difficult to come from behind in this league. Every team has got their strengths. Every team has got their weaknesses, and it's a tough league. So it is relentless, and there's no easy games. And I think you can see that today. It was a real ding dong. It was a real battle. 2 teams that definitely tried to get the points, and ultimately they were shared. So I think we'll go home happier of the 2 because of the manner, like I said, being 2-0 down and clawing our way back to get something. But I know it's sort of what Rod will have them doing over the next 10 games. They'll be fighting, they'll be scrapping. He's a brilliant person. He's a friend of mine who I spoke to for over an hour yesterday, and they've got a good side there. But are they really going to find the quality on this pitch for the players they've got? I think that's the hardest thing. It has to be a certain style of football to suit, and I'm sure that he'll get that right. And I hope they do, because he's a good person.
Yeah, and then finally next Saturday, home to Farnborough, which is always an interesting game. What are your thoughts, considering they have gone a little bit of a better patch of form of recent? It's going to be a tough game against them, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Good friends of ours, obviously Spencer, Bakes, the other Bakes. Good people that I speak to every single day. They've gone on a hell of a run. So fair play to them as well, because they've offloaded a lot of players to different clubs and whatnot, and I think they got a little bit of flack for it, but Spencer's been proved right. I think they've gone and won 3 or 4 in a row, which is incredible, against really good sides. I say 3 or 4 in a row. Did they draw with Dorking? But they've won the last 2. They've beaten Worthing and beaten Western today, I believe. So no, friends of ours, really tough game. I'm sure that they'll expect a tough game coming to our place. If we can get something from that next week, which I hope we can, then today will be an even better point. But it'll be good to have him at our place. It'd be nice to give Bakes probably the reception that he deserves. I don't think he's ever really had that since the day that he left. But hopefully he'll leave the ground a little bit more miserable than we do. So that'll mean that we get the 3 points and he doesn't. So fingers crossed. But yeah, hopefully we'll have a good week in training and see what next Saturday brings.
Brilliant. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for your thoughts, and we'll see you next Saturday at home to Farnborough.
Cheers, Con. Thank you.